So some of you folks may have already heard that the US Army has caught a lot of flack from the esports and streaming world. From cringe tweets to allegedly fake giveaways to chat bans that might be unconstitutional, it has been a wild couple of days for the US Armed Forces on Twitch. But with the announcement that the US Army is pausing their Twitch streams and with chat unfurling the mission accomplished banners, I think now might be a good time to take a step back and walk you through what the hell happened here. How did the US Army lose the war for Twitch? Alright, before we get into this story, I want to make sure that you all know that if you want more esports, gaming, and streaming news like this, then you should watch Clouded. It's a weekly show we do on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern over at twitch.tv/theScore esports, where we talk about news, we have opinions, and we make fun of Colin for being a boomer. It's a good time. Anyway, this whole US Army thing kind of started on June 30th, when the US Army esports team got in a conversation with Discord on Twitter, which they ended with an So obviously that's super fucking cringy. Doubly so coming from the US Army. But it made a lot of people realize, wait, the US Army has an esports team? And yeah, they do. It's kind of weird, but they have an esports team called the US Army Esports, and they've been around since November 2018. They've been kind of low-key, but they have been around. The US Armed Forces have been using esports and gaming as a recruitment platform for years. America's Army is a series of video games developed and published by the US Army since 2002. Meanwhile, in esports, the US Air Force sponsored E-League and the Boston Major, and if you don't remember, a uniformed Air Force sergeant came out to give Skadoodle the MVP trophy at the Boston Major. But not everyone has been super comfortable with the US Armed Forces presence in esports and gaming over the years. There has been criticism of the US Army esports team, much like there's criticism of any recruitment material that the US Army puts out. And if you don't believe me, just take a look at the responses to their initial tweet. Many people view the aiming of military recruitment material at younger people as problematic. You've got young, impressionable people being told that playing a life of video games has somehow prepared them for an actual armed conflict. Whether you support the existence of a military or not, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Some have said that US Army Esports doesn't just promote an unrealistic image of what being in the military is actually like, but they're also targeting their message at people who may not have the skills to be in the army, but are more receptive to the message because they're playing video games about shooting people. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone is against recruitment, just that there are some serious ethical questions about aiming recruitment material at gamers. But what happened next is when things really went off the rails for US Army Esports. On July 1st, a day after that cringe uwu tweet, people decided to make a game of speedrunning getting banned from the US Army's Discord server, mostly by linking a Wikipedia article that lists US war crimes. And on July 8th, esports Twitter guy Rod/Breslau shared a video of activist and political consultant Jordan Uhl going into the US Army Twitch chat and typing, "What's your favorite war crime?" Uhl then linked that Wikipedia article about US war crimes before getting banned shortly after.
Oh, cool. Nice. Really chill guy. Have a nice time getting banned, my dude.
The streamer at the time was Joshua Strontium, a 12-year Army veteran. And between his reaction and Uhl getting banned, people decided to see if they could get on the US Army's bad side too. Chat was quickly inundated with more people asking about US war crimes and quickly getting banned themselves. And the US Army wasn't the only branch of the US Armed Forces to get ban happy on Twitch. Uhl went over to the US Navy's Twitch channel and did the whole war crime shtick there too, leading to him getting banned, and of course, more people getting banned for doing it as well. And in the middle of all this, Uhl reported that the US Army was posting links in their Twitch chat that they said were links to a giveaway to win an Xbox Elite Series 2 controller. And allegedly, they actually led to a recruitment form. When I reached out to the US Army for more information on what happened and if they were aware that the links they were sending out led to recruitment forms, they said that the giveaways are in fact real and that they've given away 10 controllers, setups, and chairs over the last year. We have a standard form that is used for all activities, but each action has a marketing code associated with it to ensure the submissions are connected to the correct event or giveaway. The team is exploring options to customize its giveaway pages to provide more external clarity. Kotaku's Nathan Grayson reported on July 16th that Twitch has intervened and forced the US Army to remove their giveaway links. Now, I want to take a second to say that I think most people who were posting about US war crimes and getting banned in Twitch chat weren't doing it because they were questioning the morality of recruiting gamers on Twitch. I have to imagine that a lot of people getting in on this just wanted to get in on a big trolling campaign. But many people do feel strongly about this. Many, myself included, feel very uncomfortable with the US Armed Forces trying to use Twitch as an arm to recruit gamers. And some people even feel like these Twitch bans might be unconstitutional. Lawyers at the Knight First Amendment Institute at Columbia University representing Jordan Uhl say that banning him and others from the US Army and Navy Twitch chats was unconstitutional and a violation of their rights to free speech. The Army and Navy esports teams banning of users based on their speech about war crimes is unconstitutional. When the government intentionally opens a space to the public at large for expressive activity, it has created a public forum under the First Amendment, and it cannot constitutionally bar speakers from that forum based on a viewpoint. These principles apply with full force in the digital sphere, including on social media platforms, as courts have emphasized in recent cases. Basically, the US Army and Navy Twitch channels are a government-backed open forum, which means banning US citizens for discussing war crimes is unconstitutional and violates their right to free speech. Now, when I reached out to the US Army, I asked for their comment on the accusation that banning Uhl and others from their Twitch channel was unconstitutional. And here's what they told me. The esports team members did not ban the users because of viewpoints. They banned them for behavior intended to harass, degrade, and intimidate, which violates the Twitch community guidelines. Since the team started on Twitch, they have had specific chat rules on the page that clearly states harassing behavior will not be tolerated. Those chat rules include not harassing people, not spamming or otherwise disrupting the stream, and not pushing personal agendas. Quote again, with respect to banning users, the US Army esports team's social media pages were being spammed with "What's your favorite war crime?" memes and questions. The esports team blocked the term war crimes in its Twitch channel after discovering the trend was meant to troll and harass the team. Twitch members used creative spelling to continue related posts. Following the guidelines and policies set by Twitch, the US Army esports team banned users from its account due to concern over posted content and website links that were considered harassing and degrading in nature. And when I reached out to the US Navy, they gave me a pretty similar answer. We moderate our channel in accordance with our posted channel rules, which are available to everyone who chooses to participate in the chat. We strive to allow for maximum freedom of discussion in our chat and seek to only ban those who break the posted rules or engage in personal attacks against our streamers or their families. We have a system whereby offenders are given several chances to correct infractions prior to being banned, and our moderators will engage with those who violate the rules to inform them of which channel rules they have broken. This is done in an attempt to allow for maximum amount of free, civil, and open discourse. If someone feels like they have been unfairly banned, they have every right to contact a moderator for an explanation and possible unbanning. Now, the lawyers at the Knight Institute already have a response lined up for that. They say, quote, Mr. Uhl's speech does not constitute harassment under the terms of service, which define harassment to mean any content or activity that attempts to intimidate, degrade, abuse, or creates a hostile environment for others. Mr. Uhl's messages drew attention to prior US military actions in the context of the Army and Navy's use of Twitch as a recruiting tool. His messages were quintessential political speech, which lie at the core of the First Amendment. So it seems like the US Army may have really fucked up here, which is why they're taking a break. When I reached out, they told me the esports team is reviewing ways to customize its giveaway submission forms and provide more clarity for each of its giveaways. The team has paused streaming to review internal policies and procedures, as well as platform-specific policies to ensure guidelines for participating in the space are clear before streaming resumes. Oh, and to top this all off, Vice reported that Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, the Silver 3 League player and US representative from New York, has filed an amendment to a House Appropriations bill, which would prevent the US military from using funds the bill would provide to, quote, maintain a presence on Twitch.com or any video game, esports, or live streaming platform. Basically, the US Army is taking an indefinite break from streaming while they figure stuff out, and if AOC's amendment goes through, which, to be fair, is not guaranteed, they may not be able to come back at all. Honestly, if this weren't about the US Armed Forces, this would all sound like a pretty normal Twitch controversy. But then again, they are in fact the US Armed Forces, and that's what makes this whole mess a real problem. Up until now, I've tried to give you the facts in as clear a way as I can. People have been banned, lawyers say those bans are unconstitutional. Giveaway links allegedly led to recruitment forms, the Army is working on making those giveaway links clearer. But now that the facts are laid out, I want to tell you what I think of all this. Because I think that attempts to recruit or market the US Armed Forces via Twitch, esports, and gaming are shady as hell. I find it deeply uncomfortable that the US Armed Forces are trying to recruit people via Twitch and at esports events, especially when sometimes those people aren't even officially positioned as recruiters. On the US Army esports team's website, it says, Members of the esports outreach team are not recruiters. Which, sure, but this whole page is hosted on recruitment.army.mil. So they might not officially be recruiters, but they're part of a recruitment effort, so come on. And earlier on the page, it says, quote, they will operate much like the Golden Knights and Army Marksmanship Unit to create awareness about the Army and opportunities it provides. The Golden Knights and AMU are competitive teams in parachuting and shooting respectively. They exist to market the Army and make people more aware of what they do. But those few words at the end are really telling. They don't just create awareness about the Army. They tell you about the opportunities it provides. And even the people who are in charge of these kinds of programs agree. In an article posted all the way back in February 2019, Sergeant First Class Christopher Jones, the NCO in charge of the team, said that team members will receive a crash course on Army enlistment programs to answer questions from those interested in learning about the service. So basically, they're not official recruiters, but they are trained to help recruit. And over on the Navy side of things, it's just as murky. Vice's Matthew Galt reports that one of the Navy streamers said on stream, "We're not here to recruit." But Vice discovered the Navy's guide to Twitch streaming, in which they state, everything done on social media should be aimed at making connections between prospects and recruiters. I reached out to the US Navy and a spokesperson told me this. MM1 Crosswhite statement is accurate. MM1 is not a recruiter, and his role on the team is to play games on esports and be there to talk with followers about his experiences in the Navy in order to raise awareness about Navy opportunities. If that results in people wanting to learn more about the Navy, then we are happy to help point them in the right direction. The purpose of our esports team is to bring awareness to the Navy while competing and engaging with the gaming community. Naturally, such outreach efforts may result in users asking about careers in the Navy. If users express an interest or curiosity about joining the Navy, the team member will take that conversation offline and first request the age of the individual. If an interested user is over the age of 17, then the esports team member will recommend they visit Navy.com where they can speak to a recruiter. Again, they might not be recruiters themselves on stream, but they're there to connect you to a recruiter. They are part of the recruitment effort, and they even say in that quote, there's a potential that they're marketing to people under the age of 17. So why are the US Armed Forces so thirsty to recruit gamers? Well, way back in 2018, the Associated Press reported that the US Army missed their recruitment goals for the first time since 2005. Their recruitment efforts weren't working the same way anymore. So now they're turning to gaming, a space where people regularly play games about pretending to shoot people in armed conflicts. And look, I think everyone watching this video will agree with me that there is a pretty huge difference between playing CSGO and signing up to be an actual real-life CT. The skills are not comparable, the headspace is not the same, and if I'm being perfectly honest, one is a lot less morally dubious than the other. And if you need a hint, it's the one where no one actually gets shot. Look, I don't necessarily hold anything against an individual who joins the armed forces, but I do think that the armed forces trying to convince people that playing games has prepared them to serve in an armed conflict is super not okay. This is preying on young, impressionable, often disenfranchised people and telling them that serving in the armed forces is the escape they need, or that it's the true test of their elite gaming skills. And don't think that this stops at Twitch streams. The US Army have so many partnerships with gaming and esports organizations. I already told you that the US Air Force sponsored E-League, but they also sponsored Cloud9. And the US Navy has partnerships with ESL, Twitch, Evil Geniuses, and Double Tap. They're planning on making content that advertises how esports compares to being in the Navy. Spoilers, I don't think it really does. Now, to be fair to the US Army and Navy, that is not how they see it. I asked the Navy how they felt about the immense scrutiny they faced from the gaming and streaming world over the last couple of days, and here's what they told me. We understand that some people in the gaming community oppose the military and have no interest in a Navy career. But for those who are curious about what it is like to serve, the Navy is committed to utilizing platforms that provide opportunities for authentic conversations. The US Armed Forces want you and I to look at them positively, whether they're trying to recruit specifically us or not. They want to be seen as an overall good in the world, which personally really scares me, because that means that they're using esports and gaming as a propaganda tool. And if you think that they aren't, remember that they literally banned people for talking about US war crimes. No matter how much fun we have playing COD and CSGO, war isn't fun. And I don't think the US Armed Forces have any place in esports, especially if they're out here trying to make us think that war actually is fun. There's no good just clip of an, unfortunately, is not like an actual thing an anime girl character would say. You know what I mean?
Oh, Dan, you underestimate me so much.
Oh yeah? Okay. Because I really wanted to just put an anime character going with the fucking like US Army logo over their face or something.
Oh my god.